I'm tagged.
They really use Titans. Well, take a grenade.
Here's my sign. Wow, there's still fun hands.
Jesus Christ. Stop it.
Hello YouTube, today I'm going to be covering an Arc Warlock build for PvP. This build is primarily going to focus on being a counter to passive play, which is running rampant in the Crucible right now, especially Trials of Osiris, but it can also be used to gain an advantage when playing aggressively. The most important part of this build is going to be Arc Web. We'll be pairing it with Storm Nades to cause complete and utter chaos to the opposition. Arc Web, for those who don't know, will chain lightning between enemies if someone is hit by arc damage. We have two methods to cause chain lightning, which are melee and grenade, but this will focus on the grenade because Bungie removed the extra melee range that Arc Warlock used to have. So, grenade-wise, we have three choices right now: Arc Bolt, Pulse Grenade, and Storm Grenade, which is my personal favorite. Each of these grenades work great, but in their own different situations. Arc Bolt is great for hitting opponents without actually aiming for them, which means it will work amazingly against people who have good movement. Pulse Grenade is going to work great if you want to start a gunfight with your grenade for that added advantage, due to its instantaneous damage. While finally, my favorite grenade, the Storm Grenade, works best against enemies that don't like to move much. Reasons that Storm Nade works so well against stationary targets is that the damage of the grenade is often enough to one-hit kill. This ability for Storm Nades to one-hit kill is only amplified when paired with Arc Web. So this means we'll be able to use our grenades as a great counter to some of the toxic abilities in the current meta, like Renewal Grasp, which did get a recent change, Titan Ramparts, the Stag, and Lordly Splendor. Of course, the grenade and Arc Web aren't the only things in this build. Seeing as we're using Arc Web, we'll be on top tree Arc Warlock. Now the super of this subclass can be used very well as a roaming super, and can actually duel with other supers as long as you take spacing into account. Now with our Storm Trance, we have some very important abilities. These include Transcendence, which will improve your super duration by about 30% if you cast your super while your grenade and melee are fully charged. Along with this, the super gets the movement ability called Ionic Blink, which is essentially just Blink, like the Voidwalkers have, but on Arc. Now having gone over our subclass, we can move on to our weapons. The nice thing about this build is that our weapons don't actually matter much, meaning you can run any weapon you want. Of course, while you can run anything, I would recommend weapons that come with the perk called Elemental Capacitor, as it will give a large boost to handling when you're on an Arc subclass. Some of the current powerful weapons that can roll with Elemental Capacitor are the Darkest Before Pulse Rifle, Igneous Hammer Hand Cannon, Shire's Wrath SMG, Fortissimo 11 Slug Shotgun, or the Ragnhild Pellet Shotgun. For me, while I do use many different weapon combos with my build, my main choice of weapon is the Fortissimo 11 Shotgun and the Sunshot Exotic Hand Cannon. These two weapons both have an extremely high handling, with Fortissimo at 100 and Sunshot at 92. Because of this high handling, I'm actually using Grenade Kickstart on my gloves instead of a Dexterity mod. Now this leads into the armor, for which most part doesn't matter, but there are some important things to think about. One of which would be using the Stasis Glove mod, Grenade Kickstart, which gives a small bump of energy when your grenade is throwing. Now, keep in mind that you definitely want to have Fastball on this build, and therefore, if you use Grenade Kickstart, you will not have room for a Dexterity mod. The other important mod to think about is the Solar Bond mod called Bomber, which will give grenade energy when you cast your Rift. With the mods covered, we can move into the exotics. Because this build does not rely on the power of an exotic armor piece, we have many choices. For my build, I'm running Transversive Steps to allow me to quickly close a gap and challenge enemies hit by my grenades. Of course, you can use any other exotic armor that will suit your playstyle, but some good options are Transversives, Ophidian Aspects, or even Eye of Another World for the plus 30 to Discipline and Strength. With all of that covered, now I'll go into some clips that showcase the power of this build.
about you. Yeah. Oh, you know you got me going out my mind all of the time. I can feel it, and I need it, and you got it. Ooh, 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 ooh. And you know, girl, I believe it. All I want is you. All right, I'm gonna break it down nice and easy for you. Goes like this. Stuck on you, stuck on you, stuck on you, stuck on you. Oh yeah, stuck on you, stuck on you. You know